Because when we observe someone change and evolve as a person, it makes us question how well we really know them. And this, in turn, makes us question how well we ever truly know ourselves. I look forward to the day when people view a gender transition as no different from other socially accepted transitional narratives. For many, a transition is a coming-of-age story of sorts. It's no different from a girl becoming a woman, a boy becoming a man, or an apprentice becoming a teacher. One way or another, we all transition. It's merely a discovery of self, but a discovery of self with an audience of fascinated spectators, gatekeepers, and non-believers. Perhaps it's the visual element of a transgender person's transition that makes it such a difficult process for society to navigate. So many other ways in which we transition aren't as tangible. I have been made to feel like a spectacle in parts of my life, and I found this traumatizing. So sometimes I ask myself, what if I had just done nothing? What if I had just let life play out with no intervention? And the answer is, I would not have understood myself at all, because that would have been a refusal to engage with knowing myself. This is a book about navigating difficulties, about how we all transition from trauma. You, the reader, will have done so too, and you may be able to contemplate in your mind now the person you were before and after, and how you emerged changed from the mess you were in. There is also the pressure that society puts on us to want to be someone else, to move the contents of our past safely into our subconscious. Our subconscious remains an unventured room in our house, containing all the difficult secrets, trauma, mistakes, and loss that we just can't seem to part with, as much as we try. The human subconscious is the attic of the soul, a storage room for inconvenient truths, but it's also probably the place in our minds that understands our need and desire to continually transition in our lives. All a lot of us want to do is adjust parts of ourselves to feel comfortable living our lives, not to exist with one foot in the attic and the other in the living room. It is crucial that every door of every room in our soul stays open. It is crucial that light and air runs throughout our house in order to keep a healthy, happy home for our soul and our psyche to live in. It has been in the most testing of times, the darkest, most impossible moments, that I have learnt the most about myself. My strength of character, resilience, endurance, and determination are all products of intense self-work. This has involved frequently challenging myself in how I think. We all become stronger as we transition, and as we move from one point to another, closer to a place of honesty and empathy. Adolescence. When I was a child, I often ran away from home. Sometimes I only made it as far as the end of the neighborhood recreation ground, from which I could still see my house in what then felt like the far distance. I usually returned before anyone had the opportunity to notice or be alarmed. I was 8 years old and already aware that running away was not a realistic solution to the problem of not wanting to be there. This didn't, however, prevent several future attempts at escape. As I got older, the distance got further, the time got longer, and the concern for my whereabouts grew. I continued to try to run away long after leaving home. Some of these attempts almost killed me. Indeed, everything is an attempt to flee if you can't love who you are. Nowhere feels like home when it's you that you're running from. We stop trying to escape when we transition into our real selves. She'd never admit to it, but my mother always liked a bit of gossip, which was a shame as there really wasn't any with meat in our deeply uneventful corner of Essex. I grew up in Stansted Mount Fitchett, a picturesque, upper-middle-class Norman town in the southeast of England, surrounded by woodlands, nature reserves, and fields. In retrospect, we probably were the gossip on account of it being the 1990s, my mother being white and British and my father black and Jamaican. I always thought of my mother as a handsome woman, tall, outwardly, confident and bold in her demeanour. You always knew when she was in the room. Her Birmingham accent could often be heard before you saw her. With her naturally flame-red hair subtly muted with cool blonde highlights cut into a short pixie crop that framed her high cheekbones, she had a stern facial expression that could melt away into warmth at the drop of a hat. She was unpredictable with her hardness and softness, fluidly, so uncompromisingly so. I was always aware that she didn't dress or behave like the other mums. She was, as I would put it back then, a tomboy, but a grown-up one. It was what I loved most about her, that in her own unspoken way she defied what a woman should look like and what a mother should be like. My mother worked in marketing, and my father was a carpenter by trade. They both came from working-class backgrounds and had, accordingly, worked hard to make it to this sleepy suburban town on the Hertfordshire border, with its low crime rate, its neat semis with manicured front lawns,